This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other? She's making six figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially? Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helps me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage, and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
Welcome to this next episode of the rebooted Divorce Diaries podcast. I'm here just wanting to make a little bit of a PSA. And the PSA today is my therapist and I do not agree on all things. And I think that's a good thing. So, got an example. I will give you this information about me. I am staunchly conservative. And to be fair, let me just go into it. Not going to necessarily get super political, but I'll go into what it means to be a conservative because I believe that technically everybody's conservative once you get down to it. Here's why I say that. So, until people look on paper and find out maybe who supports something, when you talk to people about their typical ideas about saving money, you would say, well, should I save money? Well, let me just back up. Let's give ourselves a goal. Goal is to own a car. And I am 20 years old and I want to own a Chevrolet Corvette. It's a nice car. Or if a BMW M3, if you like. If you're more of a foreign person, it's fine too. I want to own a Corvette. Now, I have a job that's paying me $20,000 and I want a brand new Corvette. And the brand new Corvette is $85,000. Okay. Should you, A, go ahead and take out a loan and have an astronomical car payment and you only make $20,000 a year? Or should you, B, not do that, buy a more sensible vehicle that you can afford and wait? Okay. I'm pretty sure 98% of people would say you should go ahead and wait. You should buy a sensible vehicle and save your money, or you can see if there's a way that you can maybe save money along the way and maybe in a few years you can go ahead and get your Corvette, or is there something else you can do on the side to help boost your income, blah, blah, blah. But people are going to typically all agree that you should wait and delay your gratification, and they're going to evaluate your decision to buy or what you do money-wise as bright or not, and they're generally going to say you should conserve. Now, when you get into the political realm, should we take money from the rich and distribute it to the poor? Some people will say yes, some people will say no, but that's what I mean. When we talk about issues specifically, like in our Corvette example, you're quickly going to find that people are pretty damn conservative. They don't want you to spend money you don't have. They don't want to spend money they don't have. But they're perfectly okay, once you get to the political side of it, taking things from somebody else to give it to other people, because that's like whatever. Robin Hood, and people sort of look up to Robin Hood, even though Robin Hood was a thief. I'm not begrudging Robin Hood. I think what Robin Hood did was good overall, but Robin Hood was also a thief, and he was a bandit. Whatever, that's what he was. So when I think about my therapist and I, we don't agree. She, with me saying that I'm staunchly conservative and me obviously saying that my therapist and I don't agree, I think you can tell where her political leanings lie. She's extremely woke. She believes in systemic racism, that it exists and that there's really nothing that anyone can do about it. She said she spent some of her time screaming at the top of her lungs while she was at a stoplight because something happened. She embodies the overreactive incredibly emotional, woke, older, and I'll be honest, white woman. That's what she embodies. And I don't begrudge her of that. Those are just all facts of everything that I have experienced with her. Like, for example, the very first time we met, this was a video visit, and over Zoom, she says, "Hello, I just want to introduce myself, and I want you to know, you can see me and I can see you." She says, "I am a white woman, which means I was born with privilege. And there are privileges that I have that I both know and that I don't know. So I'm looking to you to help me understand the things that I don't know. And I want you to be my teacher to sort of educate me." If that's a little bit of a hint for you, I am not a white woman. So when she's talking to me, she's saying, hey, there are things that systemically affect me, and there are things that I have done in the past, whether I like it or not, and I need you to educate me. And I immediately said, because I started to quit the session right there and say, this batshit crazy lady is not for me. I'm done. Because I ultimately said, I really just hope that you and I can just be two people having a conversation. You're the professional and I'm the patient. And hopefully we can just be two people just talking about things and get to the bottom of what's happening in my life. And she kind of snapped out of it. She kind of had a crazy look on her face and she's like, wow, I didn't expect you to say that. Which kind of sucks because actually she was expecting me to maybe react in a certain way or, put my fist in the air or something like that. That's maybe what she wanted, but I didn't. That's not me. That's not how I'm wired. So I'm glad that I pushed through that. And I'm glad that she has as well, because while I can tell personally, politically, maybe fiscally, whatever, we likely do not agree. But the perspective that my therapist brings to my life is one that was very much needed. I'm not totally sure that I could be having the same amount of success with another therapist that I do with this one, that I staunchly disagree with, where we don't see eye to eye on certain things. But she's able to compassionately talk to me about the things that are going on in my life. And what I appreciate the most is what is so different with us. What I appreciate with her, she's very sensitive. She's both pragmatic and she's sensitive in ways that I obviously need, because sometimes I'm too logical, too pragmatic, too in my head. And having a therapist that is a little bit more feely, a little bit more woke, a little bit more, I would even say, where I am maybe educated or whole, she may not be. And where she's educated and whole, I may not be. And that yin yang has really helped me to understand maybe some of the things over the course of my marriage that contributed to maybe some of the not so good things. Because where I was hard, my wife was soft. And where she was hard, I was soft. The yin and yang. Sometimes when you have the yin and yang, I think you can achieve something great because you have balance. But also yin and yang they're opposite elements, like fire, ice, hot and cold. They can't necessarily coexist in the same way, in the same environment all the time. A lot of times, the two different elements, they will compete with each other, and the water could extinguish the fire. If there's too much water, it'll overwhelm it. The fire's gone, and it's gone forever. The same with ice. If there's enough hot water or even room temperature water poured over the ice is now gone. So achieving that balance is just what me and my therapist are able to do, which is why I encourage people to really date around with a therapist and see if you can't unlock a great relationship for you both. Because sometimes where the disagreements lie, that just really shows a perspective difference, and you guys could maybe grow together ultimately, and you could actually find out that you guys would have an amazing relationship together, like I was able to find out with my therapist. And I absolutely love it. I love her. I'm over the moon about her. And I can tell there are certain things that she and I cannot and should not talk about. We scratched the surface politically a little bit because I've had to use very pointed examples when I wanted to show the polarization of people. So I would talk about, Trump, Biden or something like that, but not too specifically, very broadly. And she would damn near lose her shit. I mean, she's one of those people that orange man is a narcissistic son of a bitch. I fucking hate him. And she'll curse, and she's like she has Trump derangement syndrome. She is so angry. And I'm not saying she has to agree or disagree with Trump. All I'm saying is I'm just pointing out she is fucking angry. That shit crazy fucking angry. She sees red. I've looked at her through the camera. She is fucking hysterically angry at Donald Trump and hates his guts. And I'm like, holy shit. But she has definitely helped me immensely with the things with my kids, with my wife, how I could not punish myself so much, and how I should forgive myself for the things that I've done and my errors in the past. This woman's surgical way that she can break things down and break me down and help me grow has been absolutely instrumental in the change that I needed to make in my life for myself, for my family. So if you and your therapist don't agree, that might be a good thing. Because after all, you're looking for a therapist, right? Or you're looking for a fucking teammate, somebody to validate your bullshit. Or do you want someone to call you on it? What do you want? So, me and my therapist don't agree. You and your therapist don't have to. And thanks for listening to this PSA. Get therapy. I think we all need it.
Wow. That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.